Yep.
All right, great. I'll start recording as well. All right, so Taylor, could you remind me which minutes those are going to be again?
Those are going to be the minutes from July of 2022.
Okay, so that's July 13th, if I recall correctly, maybe July 11th. What do I?
The 13th.
It was July 13th, yes. All right. Wow, I remembered something. Just a moment, I'm updating the agenda, and then I'll share it on the screen. Okay, here is the meeting. We are calling to order at 8:35. Let me call out the participants. Somebody's microphone is hot. I think it might be Will. It was Will. All right. We have Timothy Perkins. I'm just reading us off in alphabetical order. Timothy, or not alphabetical order, the order that we appear in the participants. Wow. All right. Timothy Perkins, Mary Collins, Kenny Cernak, Kyle Markley, Marion Skinner, Pablo Serrato, Peter VandenBerg, Leon Noble, Rachel Salo, Taylor Rickey, Tom Bussey, Tom Bussey, Will Hobson, and William Johnson Jr. And if I didn't get you, please raise your hand, but otherwise we will proceed. Thank you. All right, we have the agenda here. First up is approval of the agenda. I'll give it a moment. I guess I could mention for the consent agenda, the only item was that I moved and Peter seconded to approve the updated LPO constitution and bylaws. That is attached in as an addendum. I just copied and pasted the document Kyle sent out. So that way it will thereby be attached in the minutes of this meeting.
I would move that we approve this agenda.
Is there a second or objection?
Second.
Moved by Peter, seconded by William Johnson Jr. Without objection. Hearing no objection, we'll move on. Taylor, should we come back to approval of minutes, or are you ready to share those on your screen?
Hold on, let me unmute real fast. Sorry about that. I do not have them just yet. Just come back to me.
All right. We will come back to the approval of minutes unless there is any objection. Hearing none, the next item is the consent agenda. Directors look this over. If there is anything to correct there, or if there was a motion that was made that I did not put on the consent agenda, please let me know. Otherwise, I'll give it about another 10 seconds and we'll move on. All right, and again, as a reminder, the item dealt with under the consent agenda is attached to this agenda as an addendum. All right, the next item is open forum. Observers may speak on any agenda item. We have not yet dealt with minutes, and I apologize to the observers for that, because usually that could potentially be something to comment on. But if you have anything you'd like to speak on that appears here on your screen, please go ahead and raise your hand. Okay, I'm not seeing anybody. We'll have another opportunity for open forum at the end of the meeting, and that one's a little more general. You don't have to limit yourself to the agenda. So thank you to our observers for taking part tonight. We'll move along to the reports of officers. First up is the chair. I have nothing to report on the LPO front. A lot of stuff going on in the personal realm right now. Some of it drama, none of it mine personally, but still affects my life. And then I have a remodel. I'm actually sitting in a room next to a bunch of new walls with sheetrock and fresh mud on them right now. And yeah, I've been all consumed with the goings on around here. I was telling people before this meeting, I have about 150 emails that I need to catch up on. So I apologize to anyone who's waiting on me for something. We still have some cushion as far as getting in our paperwork for all of our candidates. There's no concerns at this time that we won't meet our deadline, but I want to thank Taylor Rickey, who's stepping up to help get that ball rolling while I am bogged down. And I believe that he already has submitted at least 3 candidate forms. So thank you, Taylor. And taxation is theft. And 3 years ago today, Jeffrey Epstein did not kill himself. I am available for questions.
I'm curious, this might fit better under primary election, so if you want to defer, that's fine. But I'm
Sure.
curious to know how many candidates have accepted nominations and how many we are in the process of getting paperwork from.
I don't have those numbers because I haven't been dealing with it right this minute. I think that LJ would actually be the better person to ask if he were here, but that is not the case. If you give me a moment, I can give you an estimate though. I'm going to stop sharing the screen so I don't accidentally splash someone's data across. Okay, so just a very rough count. We have 37 potential nominees. Some of those are in tied races though, so that would pare down the number by a little bit. So it's closer to 30 potentials. As far as actually accepted, if we're going by my offhand knowledge, there are at least 7 who I know have accepted. But a number of these other ones, I believe, are write-ins that wrote themselves in and would, or had even wrote themselves in and had other people write themselves in that are likely to accept their nomination. So yes, I wish that I were further along on that process, but that's what I can give you right now.
Okay. If there's trouble with contact information for anyone, I wanted to mention that because we had sent personal codes with the ballot mailers, we may have had some people insert email addresses, but those would still be on the server and haven't been downloaded yet. But that might make it easier to get in touch with some of those write-ins.
If you wouldn't mind sending me like that latest batch,
Yeah. Yeah.
then I will probably pass that on to somebody else. But
Yeah.
nonetheless.
But put that on action items for me to go get that.
Okay, let me see if I can find our action items document. The last edit was made on April 16th. All right, it is on there. Thank you, Kyle. Anything else for the chair's report? Okay, thank you, everyone. We will move to the vice chair. Will.
Yeah, there seems to be a lot going on. I think we're all under a little bit of stress trying to figure out a lot of election hurdles. We definitely don't have the depth of institutional knowledge I feel like other state parties have, and we're running up against some issues with that. A lot of us are kind of in are learning to run campaigns for the first time, and we are finding our sea legs as far as that goes. But I'm optimistic that we will figure it out. And again, as our party is a little bit smaller, to say the least, than other state affiliates, I think that we just have to, stay optimistic and just know that, each one of these campaign cycles is a learning, is an opportunity to learn, and that we're going to keep on making headway. I am probably spread myself too thin on too many different projects at once, and a lot of those are not involving campaigns, unfortunately. I am trying to help out with a couple of different campaigns, but yeah, my depth of institutional knowledge is definitely needs more. So I'm trying to, on some of my precious free time, read up about that stuff, and trying to be a better vice chair for you guys. But I do have a bunch of other projects, although I've been teasing projects for a while and haven't been able to actually pull the trigger on any of them. So instead of just teasing them one more time, I'm just going to try to release them as I go this month. I would like to, in the next few days, have something for you. So, but again, I need to actually just kind of put my nose to the grindstone, avoid all the distractions at my house, and just kind of focus on it. So sorry, that was a little rambling. And if there are any questions, I can answer them. Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Will. Last chance, if you would like to ask Will a question, but otherwise we'll move along. All right. Kenny, our treasurer's report, please.
Hi. I've been busy also.
as we all are. I think we may actually be able to finish paying Kyle back. We're certainly very close. So that's awesome. So if I find my notes, I'm still in the middle of booking some transactions, so I'm not positive how much we've got at the moment because I'm perpetually behind. But if it's all right, I would like to make two motions. One to authorize the repayment to Kyle of the remainder of the loan, and another to make payment for the post office box. And that one is interesting because I think the email that Katie forwarded mentioned it was going to be paid automatically on a card. So that's either Katie or Jennifer. So I think we'll actually have to do a reimbursement check to them, if that's okay with the board.
Right. I just need to interrupt for a moment for the secretary's notes that Artemis Wanderlust has joined the meeting as an observer. Thank you.
Okay.
What was that?
Sorry, we had an observer join and I was just notifying the secretary for his notes.
Okay.
For what were the amounts in your motion?
I haven't made a motion.
So he hasn't made the motions yet. He's just
Oh.
describing motions he would like to
Got
make. So
All right.
we're getting that to that point. So I guess I have a question first. The amount that we already authorized to Kyle, how much we authorized up to $9,000 as I recall, and
Yes.
how much was dispersed?
We dispersed 8,700,
8,700. Okay, and that left how much?
300.
He is only owed 300.
No, he is owed $2,070.14.
Okay, and that includes the 300 number.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
So I kind of, yeah. So I would like to make a motion that we make final payment to Kyle to reimburse the primary mailing expenses of $2,070.14. And that ends the authorization of any remaining funds from the previous motion.
I second.
All right, Kenny moves and Taylor seconds. Taylor, this will be a roll call vote.
Absolutely.
Can I ask a quick question? So this is basically, because I'm not very knowledgeable about this, is this basically going to be at the treasurer's discretion as the money comes in, we pay back Kyle?
I think Kenny's saying that we have that money.
Oh, we have it now? Because I didn't hear what the total was in there now.
Because I didn't give a total because I'm behind on transactions.
Okay.
But I've seen enough come in that we should be able to cover it, and I'm willing to plug the gap.
Cool.
So, yeah.
Do we have a rough idea of how much is in?
If you give me a minute, I can do that.
William Johnson Jr., you're raising your hand. If you have something, go ahead and chime in.
Yes, where's this money coming from, Kenny?
We had a couple of more contributions came in. Some of it was the matching funds that were pledged. We had one person that I've never heard of before that made two separate $500 contributions. So that was
Their name is public record, so it's okay if you state it in this meeting.
Okay.
One of us might know them.
if anyone knows an Alexander Dial, D-Y-A-L-L.
I confess he's not familiar to me.
Well, if we have his email, I'll send him a thank you.
Absolutely.
Yes, I can provide that to you.
Okay, I will take that on.
Okay, so are everyone's questions answered here? Do we need any more information before proceeding on this motion?
That satisfied me.
Okay, great.
All right.
Taylor, when you are ready, go ahead and call roll.
Okay, so on the motion to repay Kyle, the reimbursement for the primary mailings of $2,070.14. How do you vote? Let's start here. Will Hobson,
Aye.
Peter VandenBerg,
Aye.
Rachel Solo,
Aye.
William Johnson Jr.,
Aye.
Kenny Cernak,
Aye.
Kyle Markley,
Aye.
Taylor Ricky votes aye, and Timothy Perkins.
Aye.
Unanimously, the motion passes to repay Kyle the amount of $2,070.14.
All right. Thank you, everyone, and in particular, thank you, Kyle.
You're
All
welcome.
right, and Kenny, there was a second motion, maybe question, on the PO box. I wanted to actually have a little bit of discussion about the PO box
Okay.
because we have been finding it difficult to have people attending to the PO box regularly. And so I wondered if we might want to establish a new one somewhere else. This seems like an appropriate time with the primary election having concluded and the renewal coming up. I don't have a motion to make here. I'm asking for input.
Well, I have a PO box in Cascade Locks. Obviously, that is not convenient, but I go there almost every day.
I will say it would be better to be close to
Sure.
another population center. And the main reason is that whenever we do conduct an election, at least 2 people need to be present. And Cascade Locks is a little ways out for most of us.
Fair enough. Thought I'd throw that out there.
And another consideration is the box needs to be large enough to hold several hundred pieces of mail at a time during these elections.
Cascade Locks might have big enough PO boxes, so don't know. We have a couple of raise stands from observers without objection. All right, we'll start with Artemis Wanderlust.
I just wanted to put out there that there are mail services that will scan in documents so that you're able to access them online. Just something that you guys might consider.
Thank you very much for that comment. We can take that into consideration.
Let's see you tomorrow. Sometime around there.
All right, we will move along to Pablo.
I live in Portland, which is a population center that I'm in. So if we want to move it there, I can volunteer to check the mailbox.
Thank you. William Johnson Jr.
Yes, I would check the mailbox too, but what I'm saying is that we don't have ballots anymore, right? So we don't need a big, what are we getting mailed? You know, some checks every now and again. We need a mailbox to get that. But do we need a big one, Kyle?
We may not need as large a one, but we'll still have, people can still opt into paper ballots, and we don't know how many will do that.
That's true. Okay.
I would say that that is a good point to bring up, though. Hopefully, we've had our last massive influx of paper ballots. We hope. Yep.
Yeah.
It's not a done deal. I will also say that. How about that? So was there someone else with a comment?
I guess I'll say something. The current location in Beaverton has been convenient for a long time because we had people in this area. Currently, the box is fairly convenient for myself, for Tim, and for Katie. If we were to get a box in a different place, we need to make sure that it's convenient to at least 2 people and hopefully 3.
I definitely agree with you there. I will mention that I don't receive mail at my primary residence. I go to a post office every day here in Salem. Not every day, I apologize. I check it regularly. And that's for those who are in the Salem area. That's the one on 25th Street near the airport. So I'd be willing to have it moved all the way down here, but I'm also very open to having it established in Portland or somewhere else. I'm just throwing that one out there.
I also reside in Salem, so I would be the 2nd or 3rd if you needed it.
And,
Yeah, the 25th Street one, there's easy access to I-5. So even for Willie, it's probably only a 10-15 minute drive.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm on board down there too. And I drive a lot for work. I'm all over the place. So, you know, I can pick up stuff all the time. So,
And it's a relatively narrow window in which there needs to be 2 people at the same time.
right. To get a handful of ballots.
Exactly. Are there more people who would prefer Portland? I will point out that our treasurer resides closer to Portland than to Salem, and so it'd be a little easier to get checks into his hands on a regular basis if it were further north.
yeah, but I've got friends in Salem, so give me an excuse to get down there. I can make either work.
Any further thoughts?
I will note that the next scheduled payment date is 8/31. And if we do want to make a change, we need to get that
Squared away.
quickly so that we can get address updated and say, check the post office box and get the keys turned in and all that.
And establish a forwarding address.
Yes.
All right. I guess I'm waiting to hear a motion if anyone wants to make one, or further comment, of course.
Would you like me to make one, Timothy?
I have no particular preference. But if you do, then you should probably make a motion that aligns with that preference.
I'm deciding if I have a preference.
And Kenny, can we buy it 3 months or a month more time? Like,
I believe we could do 3 months, if I recall correctly, but the automatic renewal is going to be for a year.
At a cheaper rate, I'm sure. But it's coming up quick, and to get all our stuff moved over, it might be nice to have a, you know, to turn the keys in and whatever else.
But if we get a new box, we'll set a forwarding address, and that shouldn't be a problem.
True.
What's the renewal amount going to be?
$332.
Big box.
Yeah. Is there a
Well,
difference in price in different locations? Is Salem going to be cheaper? Is it going to be the same?
I'm unsure.
I
could see
wouldn't
that going-
expect it to be wildly different, but I do know that there are differences.
Are we sure they have boxes available? Maybe we need
I
to
am
know
not
about that.
100% sure, but there are many hundreds of boxes at that particular location. And I'm sure that they have pretty regular turnover.
If we decide we want to do a new one, there's one in walking distance from my house, though no one else is particularly close, but lots of people are kind of sort of close.
You are the primary person who needs mail
I
access.
am, but it's also a good control to have somebody else looking at stuff.
No. Yep, good point. We seem to be having a kind of a dead end to the conversation, but no motion being made. Is there
My
anyone who wants to break that?
suggestion,
Go ahead, Kyle.
my suggestion will be that let's just keep it where it is for now. We can do a 1-year renewal that will get us through the director election next year. And we can kick the can down the road and we can research where else it should be over the course of the next year.
I will also point out that that would, of course, you said director election, but that would put it in the hands of the next board, and perhaps that would be useful.
Yes, maybe that's reasonable because they won't be in the same places that we are. So
True.
maybe it's best to leave it for them.
The one downside is, I think this is, while she lets us use it, I think it is technically in Jennifer's name. So, since she's not really affiliated with the party anymore. But she
Maybe
hasn't
we need to talk
qualified
to the
it.
post office about that to get it transferred to us.
Okay.
I might be
So
able to go in with it.
Kyle, I think I hear a motion. Maybe?
Yes, I move to approve payment for the renewal of the PO box,
Not to exceed what amount?
not to
330.
exceed, not to exceed $350.
Second.
That was, I believe, Peter seconding.
Yes.
That's correct.
Thanks. All right, Kyle moves and Peter seconds to authorize the renewal of the current PO box in an amount not to exceed $350. This one does not require 2/3. Does it require a roll call vote though?
Yes,
Yes, I believe so. So Taylor, go ahead and run another roll call vote, please.
All right, make sure I'm not on mute. There we go. All right. For the motion to approve payment on a PO box not to exceed $350, how do you vote, Will Hobson?
Aye.
Peter VandenBerg,
Aye.
Rachel Salo. Sorry.
I.
William Johnson Jr.,
Aye.
Kenny Cernak,
Aye.
Kyle Markley,
I.
Taylor Ricky votes aye, and Timothy Perkins.
Abstain, just to make it interesting.
All right. The motion passes to approve payment on a PO box not to exceed $350.
All right. Thank you. Kenny, that dispenses with the two motions, but you technically have the floor with your report.
I'm content.
All right. Are there any questions for our treasurer?
I can't find my hand raised, but I have a question. This is Pablo Serrato. Kenny, what would our process be for getting a PayPal or some payment processor set up so we could get a merch store for the LPO running?
I'm gonna lean on Kyle and or Timothy a little bit. I did ask Kyle and he said we should be able to set a PayPal up. We just have never done it before. So I'm assuming
We were in the process of setting up, I think it was Stripe for CRM purposes. Was it Stripe or was it something else?
I think
I-
it was.
Yeah, it was Stripe and I got it set up and tied to the account, but I don't think anyone's gotten,
Yeah, we haven't actually used it yet,
yes.
but it sounds like we already have a payment processor. So if we could use that, we wouldn't need PayPal.
Yeah, I'll look into it. Just the merch store is using Teespring, and they integrate with 2 payment processors, PayPal, and then another payment processor of their own creation that I can't remember. But I will carry on. I will follow up with you all offline then on this.
All right, thank you, Pablo. And thank you, Kenny. We have a hand raised from Leon. Go ahead, Leon.
I just wanted to share some an interesting interaction with PayPal. They have a way to select employer and occupation, but it does not appear to work correctly because it did not work when the last donor for Set Oregon Free used it, and we had to send the obligatory where do you work email or letter out to them. On that note, PayPal has also been, and I think there have been a number of these situations, but several of these organizations have been cancel cultured, and so it'd be a good idea to have several processors available and set up, ready to go. So if one decides to end their interactions with us, that they just simply go do something else. It's just a matter of going click, click, and done, and we don't lose anything on the upswing, as it were. That's my 2 cents. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your comment, Leon. We'll move along then from the treasurer's report to the secretary's report.
Secretary, there we go. That's me. All right. So I cannot find my minutes for July. I did them on my computer and I don't know why I can't pull them up on my iPad. So I will be, they will be ready for the September board meeting.
I'll just mention that if you can send them out to the board of directors, we can approve them between.
Okay, I will mail them out as soon as I can get back upstairs to my computer. I'll find them and send them out to the board. Other news, I started a business. It's a t-shirt company called Liberties. Pretty cool. I'll be making Libertarian t-shirts. I also got some candidate filings done for Michael Morrow, Leon Noble, and myself. And I'm going to work on getting in touch with the other candidates to get their paperwork done. And just been working on my campaign for Oregon House District 20. So it's been a pretty busy month. And I'm open to take any questions.
We have a hand raised from Leon. I'll give it just a moment. All right, Leon.
Taylor, when did those go in?
I did them yesterday.
Okay,
Yes.
that's why I'm not seeing them yet.
Nope. Because they're there yesterday. So
The Secretary of State can sometimes take a few days because they go through and they verify everything. I've got rejections in the past that took, I think, like 3 days to make their way back to me. All right, are there any further questions for the secretary? Okay, thank you, Taylor. We'll move on now to the reports of committees and directors. First up is campaigns. LJ is not in the meeting. I will say that he was helping me on putting together the candidate contact information. And I have kind of left him hanging this very, very busy month of mine. Other than that, I'm not sure what his progress is on familiarity with Orstar and otherwise. Are there any comments or questions about campaigns before we move on? Okay, we'll move to fundraising. William Johnson Jr.
Yeah, I've been still drowning in my personal life, but it is very exciting that we were able to pay Kyle off. Thank goodness that happened. Kenny, would you send me, can I get a list of the donors we had last month? I just, I'm curious for my own, whatever. Anyway, we need to be able to move forward. We need to be able to raise more money. Pablo, did your question with the PayPal get answered? Are we able to move forward with the store online? Because I'm confused about how all that works.
Yeah, I just learned how to set up PayPal for the Multnomah County Libertarian PAC. So I think if I have EIN and sort of the filing that the LPO has with the state, I'll be able to set up the PayPal. And I don't have to have any banking information yet. I just need to be able to verify that we are a legal entity. So I think that's information that Kenny and Kyle could provide me. So do we have an EIN?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And do we know what our name is for the state?
Like the Libertarian Party of Oregon?
That bingo. Yeah.
Without the.
And that will matter. That will matter.
That will.
So I think we have what we need. William.
Okay, great. Yeah, no, because it's just been a long time, and I just want to figure out how we can get this off the ground. That's awesome. Pablo, I really appreciate your diligence on this, and Marion and everyone else. And Leon, I hear you about whatever getting canceled, but we're just struggling to get the dang thing off the ground. So, once we do that, we can figure out how to better protect ourselves. But let's figure out how to make a buck first.
Yeah, all credit to Marion, who's been very helpful and moved this really forward.
I've been slowing us down lately. I started a new job very recently, and so I've been in flux.
Look, I understand it. I started a new job recently. I'm all messed up, and everyone's slowing everybody down. But if you can just, Kenny, if you can send those numbers to Pablo, and we can just get going, because Pablo will. I don't know what he'll do, but he'll make it happen. The magic. So, any questions, comments, concerns?
Any questions, comments, concerns for fundraising?
Thank you very much. Good night.
All right, thank you, Lily. We will move to public relations. Will Hobson.
I really don't have that much to report. I have been, besides that, I have been asking different members of the party and trying to get a list of people that are interested in serving on the public policy committee coming up, as that is going to actually give me the ability and people on my committee the ability to make some statements. So that will be nice. Issues. Yeah, I've trying to think of any outreach I'm doing. I'm going to be tabling a booth with Travis West in Sherman County in a weekend or two. I was thinking about going ahead and throwing down $100 to get a booth at the Oregon Moms Conference in September. I think I'm probably going to do that. I've ordered a banner for myself that says Libertarian Party of Oregon. I created some logo work. I would like to continue doing that. I'm teaching myself Inkscape right now so I can create more graphics more easily and help out with the hopefully this soon to be launched store and make some have some graphics available for them pretty soon. So I'd like to redo the picture on my Zoom profile right now in a high quality version that we could actually sell. So.
All right, great. Any questions, comments for public relations?
Well, you have me on that list, right?
Sorry, what?
You have me on the public relations list.
I hadn't until now. Would you like to be on that list?
I would like to be on that list, please.
Okay, I'll put you on the list, Leon.
Thank you.
Anything else? Okay, Artemis, sounds like you're interested. Okay, I will write you down as well. Yeah, if there aren't any other questions, though, I guess that's my report. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move now to data. Kyle.
Hi. I'm going to join the parade of people who have been too busy recently to get much done. Sorry about that. I'll spare you the details. The only noteworthy thing to report on the data front is that Pablo is interested in helping out with data things, and I intend to train him up as best I'm able. I have not gotten my notes accumulated and anything sent over to him yet, but I will get to it. And then you won't have to just wait for me to do stuff, because hopefully he has time where I haven't. Sorry.
All right, well, I don't know that there are any other members of the data committee beside yourself, but you can certainly
Ooh,
add him
I
if you have
moved.
not.
Yes, I moved.
Well, you can just do it by
Pablo.
yourself.
Okay, I'll just do it
Vote
by
yourself.
myself.
Exactly.
Hey, you're on it now. Okay.
So now Pablo is part of the data committee.
Yay. Yes,
And
update the
I will
share doc.
Yep, I'll update it.
And
Excellent.
thank you, Pablo, for your help. I will say Pablo has already helped in this area before, so I've already seen some of the work that he can do.
By the way, I'd like to dovetail. I made a separate document and posted it on the Oregon Discord, a document that has the different times that committees are going to be meeting at and where. If members of heads of the different committees would like to use that document, you can find it in the committees section in the LPO Discord, and I can also send out a link to that to the LPO Oregon group.
Thank you. Yes.
All right. I believe Leon has a question, so without objection, we'll hear from Leon Noble. Go ahead, Leon. You are muted. I don't know if you're
What
trying to
help
talk to us.
on the data committee?
I couldn't quite understand you.
What help is needed on the committee?
I'll defer to Kyle.
The things that are needed in the short run are primarily CRM related. Our website is not yet with National. We've had some trouble getting our updated voter lists into National. We have some member contact information that is still disjoint and needs to get centralized and put into CRM. Other tasks would be things like understanding how to process the voter lists that come from the state, because they come in a not ready to consume manner and they need some processing before they can go in. Understanding how to do our the big mail merges for the mailings that we do for ballots and for other communications like that. That all needs to be written down and documented too. That's what comes to mind off the top of my head.
I would be willing to help when I have some time. I think that I have some skill in that. side of things. But like,
Okay. Is campaign season realistically a good time to work on those things?
probably not, but I've made a request for that data anyway, and I will have to adjust what that data looks like if I manage to get it. As a
Ah,
candidate.
so you requested a state voter list?
I have, yes. But
Okay.
everybody's been
If
busy.
you haven't paid for it already, we can give it to you for free.
I have not paid for it. No. I have requested from the LPO of Oregon.
Oh, okay.
Timothy should have
Yeah.
multiple mails
In the 150. Yeah,
Right.
somewhere in there.
Leon is contributing to my 150 then.
marvelous.
And I'm sorry, it's just you went off the grid, and I'm kind of like
No,
learning.
no problem whatsoever.
So if it's okay with
It'll
everyone,
be cleaned up.
I can just send him a spreadsheet with the data.
Does anyone feel that the board needs to authorize sharing data with our candidates? I don't.
No, okay. Put that on my action item list too.
And then if you're willing, I can then take, if we have candidates who would like that information, I can then distribute that information. If that helps.
Yeah,
I would be a little more cautious about that, not.
I would be giving it to them by district.
I can also give them per district lists. I prefer they get it from us directly.
I think that would be better for. I think that there's campaign finance reasons it would be better. I'm not sure. I'll put that caveat on it, but I think that contributions can, like, coordinating between a party and a candidate can be fine, but candidates coordinating with each other can be weird, if I recall correctly.
We figured out how to do that. We just have to report it, and that's why I'm telling everybody to go get a campaign committee, because it's this.
All right, Kyle, could you remind me of what your action item is?
Probably more like 10 million but multiple people are getting counted for. It's one of those weird, it's a weird multiplication thing. This is not the appropriate place to explain it, but we kind of figured out how to. But that's, you know, however you want to do it, but I'm, like I said, I'm willing to.
Kyle, your action item was to send data to Leon?
Yes, to send
Okay.
this a statewide list to Leon. And I can send lists appropriate for anyone's district to those candidates.
All right.
I'll take
Great.
one. Can you send me one, Kyle?
Sure.
Taylor, I would recommend shooting Kyle an email with a request for one.
Yes. Yes, let's email me, because then I can keep track of the work. That's better.
Send you an email.
Thanks.
Thank you.
What is your email, Kyle? I will send one.
I'll type it in the chat.
Okay. Are we ready to move on from data?
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. We'll move to bylaws. Kyle.
We have new bylaws. And Timothy, you submitted the new bylaws, right?
I did.
We're done. Hooray. Could we destroy this committee now?
I suppose so.
Do we need a motion to do that?
Yes.
So moved.
Seconded.
Second.
I think Kenny got the second.
Damn.
Is there any objection to dissolving the bylaws committee? Hearing none, it is done.
That ends my report.
All right, I'll have to remember to remove that from the next agenda.
So the committee and the committees of the LPO, the bylaws, the straight up just the bylaws committee now has been disbanded.
Yes.
We can reconstitute it for the next convention.
Okay. All right. I'm going to do strike throughs through it and put out like a red message under it saying that it has been disbanded as of now.
Okay, just for people's information here, here's an email from me to the elections division, and here's them saying that they received it. So just so everyone can see that that's what's going on.
You, everyone, on their
You're
hard work on
official.
that. Thank you, Timothy, Kyle, everyone, getting that done.
Okay, well, I'm afraid that we will take no questions for bylaws because that committee doesn't exist anymore, and move on to website. I didn't do anything with the website. Are there any questions?
Good.
Oh, Pablo may have done something with the website, so I'm going to ask Pablo if he has anything to supplement my nothing of a report.
Minor updates. We added an events calendar from Google that we are maintaining for the Libertarian Party of Oregon, so that any organization or interested party can add the appropriate event to our website. It's at lpo.org/events. And I also was Googling Gary Dye, and I found that he did have some content on our webpage, basically a photo, and I deleted that.
All right. Just out of curiosity, is tonight's meeting on that calendar?
Yes, it is.
Excellent. I think that means that we can probably get rid of that banner on the website, on the front page, I mean. If it's on our events calendar, that's probably sufficient.
We'll look into that.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. All right. Anything else for website? And thank you,
Just
Pablo.
a suggestion. If we're going to remove the banner, could we maybe just make it say by policy the second Wednesday of every month and just not update the date and the time?
Just say confirm on event calendar.
If you want that information to still be displayed on the front page, that is fine. Yeah, we
I
could
don't know.
even,
I mean, I'm open to
we could have
discussion.
we could have it be static. It could say something along the lines of, by policy, the board meets on the second Wednesday of each month. To find out more about the next meeting, please visit our events page.
I wouldn't just say by policy, because then we might, if we ever move it, we might want to say something about it. I would just say confirm on the events page.
You can confirm the date of the next meeting on our events page. Yeah, something along those lines we could definitely do without breaking a sweat.
Just
Peter,
as a call to action right at the front so people see it.
Peter, I'll reach out to you to get the copy, and the call to action would be a link perhaps to the events page, and maybe that would be sufficient, but I will follow up with you.
Sure.
All right, thank you, Peter. Anything else for website before we move along? Hearing none. Affiliate. Katie is not here. Multnomah County, did you get 17 people in a room?
Multnomah County did not, but we have formed a PAC. We have a bank account, and we are taking donations both in cash and in person and via PayPal. Tom Busey has been taken on an interim role as Multnomah PAC treasurer, and I have, with the consent of our organization last Saturday, taken on an interim leadership role for chair. And we have done this with, we also have bylaws ready to go. So when we've advertised our event. So when we do hit that magic number of 16, we will be ready to form an affiliate. One question that we have for the board, and Marion, maybe you can help me with this question, is it possible for us, is there a requirement that we meet in person in order to form an affiliate? Can we conduct can we hold a quorum on Zoom, for example?
That should be fine. We just need to have the list of attendees. And the reason for that is basically so we can audit you and make sure. I don't know if anybody would care to go to that effort, but that's why it's in the policy.
We're prepared to do that thing.
Great, because we really did. We had 17 people in the room. Technically, they just weren't all over
Oh, I'm
18
sorry.
or registered voters. So, but
Yeah, the registered voter thing would be a stickler.
right, but it was still the most bodies in the room that we'd had so far. So I felt like it was a success
Yeah.
anyway.
I mean, that's really good. All right, thank you for the update, Multnomah County. Unless anybody else has something for affiliate, we'll move to member development.
Thank you, directors and observers. Good segue because we're just talking about the Multnomah County Libertarian Party. They had an event, or the affiliate had an event this past Saturday for homeschooling. I will take absolutely no credit for this event besides the fact that I attended it, and it was really fun. Katie and Shira both talked about their experiences in homeschooling and gave some advice for people that want to get into it. And it sounds like this is going to be a continuing thing. We think that this is a really good way to make outreaches to Oregon, especially women in Oregon that are really upset with the way that public schools have been just failed them over the last couple of years. So I think that's the thing we should keep pursuing. I would like to remind everybody that I am planning on holding a barbecue at my house on Saturday, the August 27th in Milwaukee. You can contact me for details. I put something up on Eventbrite, but it's private, so I can share more details there. I'm not trying to make my address public, which is why we haven't advertised it on any social media or what have you. I am going to ask that attendees provide a $20 donation to the Libertarian Party of Oregon. I am going to provide food, water, soda, chairs, shade, and possibly some form of entertainment. Although you get, I don't know, 15, 20 libertarians at the same place, and we're all going to argue about something. Other than that, not too much going on my front. I told the board already, but for everybody that didn't see the email, I would like to resign from the board of directors. I had a really good time working with you all, and I still plan on assisting on this committee in a support role. And I also plan on doing some other stuff for the LPO, which we'll probably talk about next meeting. But I would recommend that the board accept my nomination for Pablo Serrato to take my place on the board. Pablo has been exceptionally helpful for us the last few months. We're so happy to have him from California, and we'll never, ever let them return to California to be part of that party. So I think Pablo will be a great addition to this board, and I would ask that you consider my recommendation.
Great, thank you, Peter. Just for technical consideration, are you stating that your resignation is effective as of right now?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you. So we'll make sure that that's reflected in the minutes. So we currently have a director vacancy.
I would like to make a motion to nominate Pablo Serrato for the vacant director seat on the Libertarian Party of Oregon.
Okay.
William Hobson moves and Willie Johnson Jr. seconds. I think I got the second correct. Was that you, Willie?
Yes, sir.
All right. To there's a word here that I'm missing. What was the word? Something.
Nomination.
Pablo.
Nomination.
Appoint.
Appoint. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. The motion is to appoint Pablo Serrato to the vacant director position. All in favor, please say aye.
Can we have discussion?
I apologize. The motion has been seconded, but if there's discussion, please bring forward at this time.
I would like to ask Pablo if he's interested, and I would also like to ask any of the other attendees if they would be interested.
Kenny, I am interested.
I'll just go ahead and say I'm not interested in accepting a second director position, no matter how hard you guys insist. So that being said, I haven't heard from anyone else.
The chat, Artemis says.
Oh, thank you. All right. Thank you, Artemis.
I
And
want to say that I
there-
think it's a good idea to lock in Pablo because we would like to have his help for a long time to come. And there's no better way to keep a volunteer than to put him on the board.
And if I could interject as well, I just want to say, since meeting Pablo over a year ago, I have come to realize he is probably one of the most intelligent, hardest working, and compassionate people I have ever had the pleasure of working with in the Libertarian Party. And not nominating him for the board would be an absolute travesty.
Yeah, I absolutely, I will echo Kyle and Will on this. Pablo has been amazing, and then I turn around and he's even more amazing. You know, I think we're lucky that he's here and that he's got his hand up and willing to do this. But, you know, 100%.
Okay, we have a raised hand from the observers. Without objection, we'll hear from Leon.
I agree. Pablo has been doing some really great work. I watched him basically, it seems like the push behind all the shove going on with John Newton's campaign, and things are moving really fast over there with him. But I don't want to burn him out. That's the risk that we take by grabbing somebody and putting them on the board. So that's the only caveat that I have. Pablo's done really great, but the risk of burnout is pretty high when you're already doing that.
All right, thank you, Leon. I will say that there was another person interested. Artemis Wonderlust stated that he is interested as well. I will just say that if there is a desire among the directors to consider Artemis, then the appropriate way to do that would be to vote the current motion down, and if it were to fail, then to nominate Artemis, just for informational purposes. So we have a motion. Is there any further discussion before we move to a vote? Hearing none. All in favor of appointing Pablo Serrato to the vacant director position, please say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? All right. Welcome aboard, Pablo.
Thank you, Timothy.
If I may, I would just say to Artemis, if you stick around, I am sure another opportunity will present itself.
Indeed.
And with the change of a board member, I want to remind us that we will need to file a new statement of organization listing that change.
Yeah, I have Orstar open.
Excellent.
Can I ask really quick, Peter, are you also resigning from the committee for member development?
No, I am not.
Okay, just double check.
Question there, Peter. So in your report, it was implied that you would be taking a secondary role. Are you intending to hand off the chair to someone else?
I'm sorry, hand off the chair.
The chairing the member development committee.
Yes, I would
Okay, yeah.
like Pablo
you
to be in
do,
charge, and I'll be on the committee.
you can do that within the committee. I was
Okay.
just inquiring for informational purposes. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. That then is member development report. We will go ahead, Kenny.
Pablo, does the address on 12th still work?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
All right, and for the member development committee's consideration, Leon has said in the chat that he would be interested in participating. So you guys can connect with him. All right, we will move to unfinished and new business. The first item is the 2022 primary election. I've mostly described already that not much, or I should say not much on my part has progressed in that area. There's a wedding this weekend, and then I will be, excuse me, a wedding in my family that a lot of the busyness in my current life has to do with. And after that, I will probably be a little more on top of things. Anyway, so the summary is that we have a few candidates that Taylor submitted the nomination forms to the Secretary of State, and we have more candidates to track down and ask them for it. And we have until August 30th to get those in. There may be ties that need to be broken. It depends on which nominations are accepted. So we have not yet got to that point where we have to break ties. There is a question from Leon, or at least a hand raise. So I'll give it one more moment if any director has a question or comment first. All right, Leon, go ahead.
Their help needed on that. FEO 110.
I'm sorry, you are quiet for me.
Is there help needed to get the SEL 110 people to get filled out and returned? Do you need more help?
I have an adequate committee. The question is whether I am utilizing them effectively. And the answer is no. So do I need more help? Yes. Is it my own fault that I'm not getting the help? Also, yes.
Hey, will you let me know if there's anything I can do?
I will. Thank you, Liam. And I'll also return some of your emails. Or reply to some of your emails. All right, thank you. We can move along then to the 2023 LPO Convention Committee. Will.
Yes, we have another meeting coming up. Sorry, let the Google Doc load up here. I think it's on the third. Yeah, so the new schedule is really nice because I almost missed the last meeting. The next meeting is going to be August 30th at 7 p.m. online. We have narrowed it down a venue to a possible venue at Agate Beach in Best Western on the Oregon coast. We do have to come up with a relatively hefty deposit for it, but if we can find that, then it sounds like a lot of the financial burden is pretty much taken care of, except for basically the members that are going to be attending that convention will have to purchase a certain number of rooms. Leon actually is pretty involved in, and Marion is pretty involved in is Marion still on? Okay, yeah, Leon and Marion are pretty involved in the communications for that. And if they can speak about the exact specifics and just put that before the board really quickly, that would be really helpful. I don't want to misstate anything. I haven't communicated it with them directly. I've only read the back and forth. So Leon, Marion, could either of you?
Yeah. Leon wrote up a really cool request for proposal that was like super detailed and very helpful, made it really easy for us to just shoot it out to any venue that we were thinking of around the state. And we got some wildly different callbacks. And I think we've decided on that was Agate Beach, right, Leon?
Yeah, Agate Beach, their request for proposal returned basically a free venue if we spent $7,500 total as the entirety. We're talking every single individual who comes and stays. It only takes 35 nights of stay to meet that $7,500. So we wouldn't even have to make quorum to reach that. So that made a lot of sense. And they had some minor costs to deal with, but other than that, it really wasn't that big of a deal. I admit that I've dropped the ball and did not tell them that we had selected them and that we were going chasing that down. But I've been thinking about it for the last 2 days and had some time that I need to call a couple of people. So I will give them a call tomorrow, discuss it with them.
Okay, I have a couple of immediate questions. One is, what is that hefty deposit that was referred to? Is it going to be refunded in the event that we make the $7,500 minimum? And then the other question is, if we failed to make the $7,500 minimum, would the Libertarian Party of Oregon be on the hook for the deficit?
The answer to that is yes, it's refundable, and yes, we would be on the hook. But like I said, it's literally, we're talking the price of the food and lodging, and the lodging would be paid for by the individuals who are participating, and the food would be paid for by ticketing. It would be really easy. I mean, it literally 35 nights is what it would take to get to that $7,500 mark. I have a couple of contacts in Lincoln County that have some deep pockets that I was going to discuss it with and see if they could come up with the deposit for us. And then they would get the refund.
Okay, and again, how much is the deposit?
$2,500.
$2,500. All right, thank you. I have another question now. How much is it for one night? Oh, I suppose I could just divide 7,500 by.
If you just did it by, I think it was $200 a night. That was the other thing we're going to confirm.
A little over 200, but yeah.
Yeah, it's like $210 or something like that. But it was 35. It was literally 35 nights. Which, I mean, if you're doing 2 nights, well, it was also Memorial Day weekend, so that we selected. So if you decided they were going to offer 4 days before and 4 days after at that rate, and that rate is typically starting at around 260, 270 for that weekend, because that's when all the tourists come out of the woodwork. So you'd be getting a real good deal out of coming with your family. So it would not, and like I said, it would not take much. So it takes 35 hotel rooms to meet that. We had some caveats. They really wanted us to use their catering, but they were willing to talk about it. And for the most part, we want to, in order to keep everyone there, we want to utilize the catering as much as possible, so that we don't lose the quorum. Because somebody went and decided they weren't getting their way, and they went to lunch at McDonald's 2 miles down the road.
Okay. So we need to sell some hotel rooms.
Correct.
Got it. Okay, thank you. Are there further questions or comments for the LPO Convention Committee? And by the way, I asked a bunch of questions because I believe I've missed the last 2 meetings of this committee that I'm a part of, so I apologize for my absence.
Not a comment, I'm sorry, not a question, just a comment. I'm fearful that it may be difficult to get people to spend for a hotel room to attend an event that usually has not had a cost to attend.
And we did discuss that, and it was one of my concerns as well. I would definitely like to have some kind of an out for party members that are largely not able to afford the cost. We were just in the very early stages of talking about maybe providing a couple of free rooms and maybe waiving the ticket price and basically just having like a application process saying if you're a party member and you're on hard times and if there's an available slot, we can put you in that. So yeah, it's we are definitely trying to do something different with this convention.
I need to ask another question now. You just referred to a ticket price. Is that a ticket to conduct business, or is it a ticket to participate in other social activities?
Well,
Both?
it would be a ticket for food, basically.
I'm sorry.
For a catered meal during the convention.
Okay, but
maybe a speaker.
Okay. I guess the question I suppose the more important part was, are we trying to ticket business?
We have not made that determination yet, but if we do not spend a certain amount of money on certain things, and if we decide to break for lunch, then we risk losing quorum. And the obvious and easy way to deal with that is just simply not have them leave for lunch. And then we were also talking about having a good evening event, so members could bring their spouses or significant others of whatever type and have a party. So talking about catering for that. So that would probably be a separate type of deal. Either way, we have not gotten that ironed out, but in almost every single case, we were talking tens of thousands versus essentially free, based on how much money we spent. Does that make sense?
Marion's got her hand up, and then I've got a question after that.
Marion, would you please tell us what's
Yeah,
on your mind?
well, basically, it was decided early on in the convention planning process that it was going to be a 2-day affair, and that immediately became cause for in-person attendees to need to pay for hotel accommodations. And there was quite a bit of debate about that also. But ultimately we decided to go with a 2-day event. And that's what got us to Agate Beach in Newport, because it was the only place where we could have a reasonable minimum to meet. Most of the other places were something like $60,000, $65,000. And also, not to mention this minimum, the room fees. So just the amount of money they pay for their rooms themselves goes towards $7,500, which should be pretty easy to meet. in terms of in-person attendees, just people looking to get away to the beach for Memorial Day weekend. And we're pretty confident that that minimum is so low that that people who, because the people who really have a problem with there being a cost to attending both days of this event in person definitely have that option of attending remotely. And that's, I think that's just kind of the reality of the situation. Is it was between making this 100% free for everybody or having a two-person event, or a two-day event, sorry.
Okay, thank you for answering my questions. And then Kenny had a follow-up.
Yeah. What's the estimated catering cost?
We don't have that yet. That won't be really able to be handled until about a month or so before, when we give them a preliminary numbers. I think it was a month was their minimum. So that would be a solid. We would have a more solid number at that point. But we have a date and we have a time and we have a place, which means we can now advertise that it's happening and put it on the website that it's happening and where it's happening. And I think the only thing we really need to do is set a reasonable ticket price for the catered meals. And
I guess my thought process was, if we don't end up having to pay for the venue because enough rooms are sold, might it be possible for the party to just cover the catering cost and not have to worry about tickets?
That could easily happen, but I mean, we'd be looking at $2,000-3,000 probably. It would be really easy just to call it that $50 donation that Mr. William Johnson suggests everybody do, and then call that good, and then it's not a pay-to-play type deal. And I don't think that we need to worry about whether or not attendees are doing that. It's just that they'll end up leaving when the food comes in. If that makes any sense.
Well, I guess I know we've spent money on conventions before, so if we're just paying the catering cost, that's probably in line with historic costs, is my thought process there.
Sure. My thought process, find a way to make sure everything's paid for.
All right, I will just mention that if we, first of all, I will remind the committee that the board has to authorize the deposit and the contract. So if you have something that you need us to make a motion on, I don't think we have the cash on hand at this point, but if you want us to authorize something in the future by a certain date, something like that, that's a consideration. And then I think that a fair number of us in here are, at least relative to the general population, economics nerds. And at the very least, we understand incentives. And if we provide a remote option that is free and an in-person option that is ticketed, we'll probably see a skew that follows those incentives, and then we might not be making our minimums. Just a thought. I know that there's an intent to have some speakers that will be drawing people in and to be there in person and things like that, but I just wanted to put that out there. All right, is there anything else for the committee or from the committee? All right, somebody say something so that I know that I am not.
You're not muted.
Okay, great. Thank you.
I just didn't have anything to say.
Yep, great. We can move along then. We have an open forum. Observers may speak on any item that they wish. And we have Tom, go ahead.
You're muted.
Hi, I'm Tom. I'm from Portland. I'm here to ask you for money as acting treasurer of the Multnomah Libertarians. Actually, I'm not asking you for money. I'm asking you to ask for money. It is measure argument season, and measure arguments are the most important way, in my opinion, to promote the Libertarian Party of Oregon. I personally got into the Libertarian Party via measure arguments. I was a kid, I was 10, 13, I don't know, I was reading the voter handbook, which is what we call it in California. Here you call it the voter guide, about a measure argument. And there was an argument from the Libertarian Party of California, and they said, we oppose this bond measure. And I asked, Dad, what's a bond measure? What's the Libertarian Party? And that got me really interested. Running measure arguments is more cost effective than running candidates. It is, in my opinion, the way to grow the party. And the thing is, we have to do it right now. And it's not just Multnomah County, it's every single county in Oregon. The deadline for measure arguments to be noticed is August 18th. In Multnomah, we're going to talk about this on September 3rd. The deadline to file is September 12th, and that is before your next board meeting on September 14th. And if you have the money to raise $20,000 to run a primary, it only costs $400 to run a measure argument for your 325 words of fame. And let me tell you about this, because these bond measures, these tax increases, they impact everyone. In Multnomah County, Oregon Metro is running a tax increase. Portland Community College is running a bond measure, and this crosses over into Washington County and Clackamas County. So at least in Multnomah County, we're taking some leadership to actually submit this to the voter guide. It costs 0.0004 cents per impression to send our 325 words out to people. We have a pack for raising this. We have a website. If you want to talk to me about this and maybe consider contributing, my number is 415-894-7336. Again, 415-894-7336. I'll answer the phone and we can talk about making this happen. You can donate on our website, multnomahlibertarians.com, and there's PayPal. Thank you very much for Pablo for setting that up, and I got the bank account set up. And that's it. And if you have some donors, if you have some friends, if you have some neighbors who pay property taxes, you want to send them our way so we can crowdfund for this. I really just want to emphasize this. Many thanks.
Thank you, Tom. Tom, just one more time, could you tell me the dollar number you're looking for?
It's $400 per measure argument. And that would be like if Oregon Metro, if we were to oppose their local tax levy in Multnomah County and in Washington County, that would be $800. We've raised at this point $465, so we have at least enough money for one measure argument. But there are going to be a lot of measures on the November ballot. So we'll know the final ballot by August 18th.
All right, thank you, Tom. The next, there's another with another hand raised. Leon, go ahead.
Thank you for reminding me, Tom. It is somewhat imperative that candidates understand that if they're going to put a candidate statement in, they only have until the 16th to actually get that in if they are doing it by signature. And on that note, I could use some help if people would like to grab a copy of the signature page for me, and we'll get 10 or 20 signatures. That would be great. I need, they told me about 600, but I think 700 or 800 would probably be better. So as many as people would like to get, and I know that I'm not the only one. Peter Newman, Morrow, Oregon, Mr. Michael Morrow, Taylor Rickey, that's like the easiest way to get the name out there, because people do read the voter pamphlet.
Leon, do you need like the original of that sheet, or can we scan it to you?
I believe I need the original, but I have to go to Salem in person to take them in. So I can, at that point, that would be a reason for me to get on my motorcycle and ride and pick them all up. Or you can send them to me, either way.
Okay, and do you need, can you email them, or is it a physical page we have to get from you?
I have PDF copy to be emailed.
Okay, can you email one to my LPO address?
Would you send me the LPO address? Because I don't think I have it.
My,
If I send things to board@lporegon.org, does that get to everyone?
It does not.
Okay.
my email's in the chat.
Each person's email is first name dot last name at lporegon.org.
Okay.
Thank God board in everybody doesn't work. Thank you for setting it up that way. Whoever did that. I appreciate that.
All right, thank you, Leon. Mary, you had your hand raised.
Yeah, I will not be by my computer next time there is a board meeting, and so I just wanted to say if somebody else wanted to record, I'll still put it up on YouTube. I just won't be able to record the meeting next month.
All right, thank you. Are there any more observers who wish to speak? All right, thank you to our observers for attending tonight. We will move along then. The next board meeting is set by policy for September 14th. Are there any directors who might have a problem with that date, or can we leave it as it is?
I think I'm personally okay with that date. I just wanted to confirm that at the next meeting, that would be an appropriate time to appoint members of the Public Policy Board. Will that?
I think that's just short. I don't remember. I apologize. I feel like it was maybe the 16th was 90 days from the conclusion of our primary election.
Would we
point the public policy board technically exists right now. It's just not populated, and so we have to wait 90 days from its exist. Any vacancies that exist have to exist for 90 days before we can fill them, and that was 90 days from July 17th.
I guess I'm asking if the board would be more interested in doing making appointments in person, or would we be more interested in making appointments via email?
So you're suggesting that the next meeting could be bumped to the 21st, so that we'd be past that date.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. What are the director's thoughts?
I'm fine with the 21st to take care of the Public Policy Board.
I suppose we haven't talked about a process for making those appointments. I would like to receive information from the people who'd like to be on it.
I agree.
Not just, A vouches for B, but I want to hear people in their own words.
Like in written statement or verbally in a meeting?
Either way.
I think giving people a chance to come verbally in a meeting might be good. I don't know if we like need to set out like a rule for that, but yeah, I would generally like to hear people give their pitch and try to sell themselves on it.
Yeah, we could also set up a Google form where they can give us their opinions on a number of different policy issues and how they think the LPO should or should not, for that matter, speak to them. So we get the written as well.
Yeah, I like that.
All right. Well, I'll move then that I will try to work on that. Let me write that down.
Maybe a big one. Google Doc. Public Policy Board application.
I'll move that we move the time of the next meeting of the Libertarian Party of Oregon's Board of Directors to September 21st at 8:30 p.m.
All right, Will has moved.
Second.
Taylor has seconded. Is there any objection? All right, we'll meet on September 21st. Will, would you please send out an email to the board just immediately after this meeting to let us all know that that's going to be the next date?
Yes, of course.
That way people who aren't here get any immediate info dump. All right, great. So that is going to conclude this meeting. I'm gonna stop the share. I'm gonna stop the recording. And Mary, you can stop your recording as well. But I would ask the directors to stay while the observers depart.